Hey guys, welcome back. Eric Smith here, Five Reasons Sports contributor, co-host of the Scouting Combine with Hassan Patel. And here with a bonus video for this week with some additional offensive line content. Obviously, when the team loses, fans are going to be working to find somewhere to place the blame. And across the NFL, but especially for Miami fans, that tends to default to the offensive line. And let me be clear again, I'm not saying that this line is elite or that there isn't room to improve, but I've consistently said that this group is better than the majority would indicate. A common thread that I've noticed this week is the notion that we need bigger bodies, especially in the interior of the offensive line, so that we could win more in short yardage situations. So today, what we're going to do is to take a look at how the Dolphins' run game has performed in those short yardage scenarios this year. You can see on the top of the screen here the filters that I used on NFL Pro to pull the 20 clips that we're going to take a look at today. These include Miami Dolphins run plays on 3rd and 1 or 2 yards to go. And I think that's a pretty solid place to start to see where the issues stand in Miami's short yardage run game. All right, let's get started here. So, we're not going to spend a ton of time on the ones that convert. This one's a 3rd and 1 from the 1 yard line. End up converting for the touchdown. So, I don't think we really need to look at that one any further. Next one here is going to be a 3rd and 1. And we're going to get angled up the middle here. This is going to be a run for 6 yards. So, again, this is not one that we really need to spend any extra time on. And then we're going to get 3rd and 1, and we're going to get angled up the middle here for 2 yards. So, another conversion. And then we've got 3rd and 1, and going to be angled again, going for 3 yards off the right side. All right, so here we're going to get 3rd and 1, and this one is going to get stopped for a -1 yard gain. So we're going to take a look at this one a little closer. All right, so we're going to flip to the end zone angle here, and angle going to the left here. So as you can see, um, you know, mainly looks like Eichenberg not able to get through that combination block to get up to number 42, who ends up making that play. So I would say that this is definitely one that you could put on the offensive line in this situation. All right, moving along here. Next play is going to be 3rd and 2. We're going to get Achan up the middle for 16 yards on this one. And then our next play, 3rd and 1. So we're going to get Jeff Wilson off the right guard here. Going to get a no gain on this one. And this was a play that I had covered in my weekly video. This was the first time that Jeff Wilson had lined up at fullback all year. So I think that it was a pretty obvious play call. You could still put it on the offensive line if you want, but I didn't feel this was a good use of personnel in short yardage. Then we're going to get 3rd and 1. Ingles going to get -1 yard. Going to be a fumble that ends up getting recovered by Jeff Wilson. We're going to look at the end zone angle for this one. All right, so obviously, we're not going to put the fumble on the offensive line for this. Um, looking at the point of attack here, just didn't get a whole lot of movement. I'm not sure that Ingold ever really had a good grip on this ball. If you watch closely at the handoff there, it's kind of up in his chin and never really has great control of that. You know, if that's a cleaner handoff and he's worried about trying to maintain control of that ball, then maybe we fall forward for a yard. Um, but this was one that did not convert. I don't feel it was as much on the offensive line as it was that the exchange between the quarterback and the fullback in this case. All right, moving along. So we're going to get 3rd and 1 here. So this is going to be Achan off the right tackle for 2 yards and a conversion. And now here we're at 3rd and 2. So this one's going to be a scramble by Tyler Huntley. It's only going to go for a yard, so it's not a conversion. So I'm not going to, because it's a scramble, I'm not going to include it in the calculations that we're doing here. It just wasn't a designed run, so I don't feel like it really belongs, even though based on the filters, that's what it is. This one here is going to be Tyler Huntley on a designed quarterback run where he does score and convert. So this is going to be one that I would include. And then next one here, I think this is going to be, so it's 3rd and 1. It's going to be Tyler Huntley for 2 yards. Just a quarterback sneak, so that's another conversion. And then here we're going to get 3rd and 2 with a Huntley scramble for 3 yards. And similar to the one earlier that didn't convert, that I didn't include because it wasn't a designed run, I'm not going to include this one in our figures either because it was not a designed run, even though it was a conversion. So here we get 3rd and 1, and this is going to be Alec Ingold up the middle, and he's not converting. So end zone view here, and as you can see, another kind of awkward exchange there. Looks like Tim Boyle's trying to get a little further outside, where Ingold's trying to get a little more towards the backside A gap there. I still have no issues giving blame to the offensive line and Austin Jackson. I'm not 100% that Julian Hill shouldn't have helped out more there, right? But if we're talking about ones that we can assign blame to the offensive line versus ones that we can't, I have no issues with this one being put on the offensive line. All right, moving along, we got Mostert going up the middle here for a touchdown. And then we're going to get Mostert on 3rd and 1 for -1 yards. And we're going to take a look at the end zone angle for this. All right, here we go with the end zone angle. So like I said on that one before, I think that you could say it's debatable that, Julian Hill could have helped out a little more on that one, even though I was, willing to accept blame for the offensive line on that one. On this one, this is not the offensive line at all. We're getting Teron Armstead really closing down that side of the line, and you got Durham Smythe here, just getting his ass kicked at the point of attack. So, if you want to include this in short yardage running issues in terms of the tight end not being able to, create any kind of positive movement here, I'll accept that, but this is not one that, I would agree would be on the offensive line. All right, moving along again, 3rd and 1 here, going to get Achan going off the left guard for a gain of 10. And then we're going to get 3rd and 2 here, and this is going to be Achan up the middle for 5. Got 3rd and 1 here against the Raiders, and this is going to be Achan's going to be going up the middle and converting, getting a 3-yard gain out of this. And then, so this is Packers game. This is going to be Mostert. This is going to be 3rd and 1, and he stopped for no gain. All right, looking at the end zone angle for this one. This is one that I would have reviewed this week on my weekly offensive line grading. You know, Ingold gets some blame here, but definitely not a good job by the offensive line. I think that Eichenberg and Brewer probably should have been comboing through number 97, and the two of them should have been accounting for 58, who comes in there to make that play. You get Rob Jones, being held there, but him and are not able to account for number 7. So, still plenty of blame to go around to the offensive line as well on this one. All right, so one housekeeping item as we move forward. That very first play that we looked at that didn't convert, which was the Alec Ingold run against the Buffalo Bills. And if you want to hold my feet to the fire on this one, you can go back and watch my weekly offensive line review on that one where I had the same opinion. And that was that I didn't like the play call on that one. If you go back and watch it, it is a outside zone run, but they're handing it to the fullback. An outside zone is something that can hit to the inside, but it's not a play that's designed to be restricted to hitting the inside, which is exactly what you have if you hand it to the fullback and you're putting your undersized center into a poor blocking position. So that one I kind of split the blame half on the offensive line and half on the play call. So if you were counting along there, so off from the beginning it said 20 plays that we were looking at. We removed 2 of those that were quarterback scrambles, and the result was that we had 12 plays that converted and 6 that did not. So we converted 2/3 of those plays. And if we look at the 6 plays that did not convert for first downs, and you go through and you try to assign blame as to why they didn't convert, and you can, the way that I did it was I kind of gave half points to certain plays like that first one where I split the blame. What I came up with was, of those 6 plays, 2 total I would say was on the offensive line. 1 total was on the play call, which comes down to 2 that were split in half in the blame. And then 3 of them came down to execution from the skill position players, whether it was the handoff issues, whether it was the tight end not being able to block. So that kind of backs up what I've been saying for a while now, that, the offensive line could certainly improve, right? But that they're not the biggest issue with this team, with the run game, with the short yardage run game. You can go through and you can fix the offensive line, but if you're still having the execution errors that you're having at the other positions, you're not going to see the drastic improvement that you might think. All right, so I'm not going to go through and do the play-by-play for the Lions, but what I did here, and you can see on the top here, they use the same filters that I did for the Dolphins, and it came out with 20 plays for the Lions as well. And oddly enough, if you go through, there's 2 scrambles in there that are removed again. So once again, you have a total of 18 of these 3rd and 1 to 2 yard to go scenarios, and the Lions converted on 13 of them, right? So you're at 72.22% for the Lions. So, the Lions, and the reason I picked the Lions is because they seem to be the gold standard for what, fans are looking for in the offensive line. But, when you compare the performance of the Lions in the exact same scenarios as what you have for the Dolphins, you are looking at only 1 play out of 18 that the Lions are better. And I'm not here to, say that offensive line is as good or better than the Lions or anything like that. I think that this was just a point that kind of emphasized what I have been trying to say, and that is that the offensive line is performing better than what the common perception seems to be. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you want to have some further discussion, always over on X or Twitter, whatever we want to call it these days, at OL Coach Smith 63. And we'll talk again soon, guys. Thanks a lot.